This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(6:15 p.m.) This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dilini Gunawardena, assisted by Sanjay, and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The Department of Irrigation requests the public to use water sparingly. President Ranil Wickremesinghe meets Singapore's President. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the government is prioritising the uplifting of the economy. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena commends the service rendered by the Homagama Base Hospital. The Sri Dalda Maligawa Asala Perahara will commence today. Foreign news: India's lunar lander Vikram searches for safe moon landing spot. Sports: it's cricket. India names 17-member squad for the Asia Cup. News in detail. The Department of Irrigation requests the public to use water sparingly due to the current dry weather conditions. It further says that the water level of 62 tanks in the country has reduced to 50%. The water level of 14 tanks in the country has reduced to below 10%. Those tanks are located in the districts of Anuradhapura, Hambantota, Kurunegala and Mana. The remaining usable volume of water available in the tanks is 28% of its capacity. The Disaster Management Centre says that over 60,000 families in 15 districts across the island are facing severe shortage of water due to the prevailing drought. Over 200,000 people suffer from lack of drinking water. Northern and eastern provinces are the most affected by the drought. 23,603 families in the northern province and 18,951 families in the eastern province are suffering. The centre further mentioned that the action is being taken to provide drinking water to the public through water bowsers and other means. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has met with Singapore's President, Madam Halimah Yacob, today at the Istana in Singapore. In a note on her official Facebook page, President Yacob said that the two leaders had fruitful discussions covering topics including food security, renewable energy and regional economic cooperation. The President also held a discussion with Defence Minister Neng En Hang on geopolitical developments and the significance of the regional stability. President Wickremesinghe left for a two-day official visit to Singapore this morning, along with a series of significant meetings planned, including discussions with Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and Sustainability and Environment Minister Grace Fu Hai Yen. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka and Singapore are to sign MOU on decarbonisation during President's visit. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the government is prioritising attending to the state revenue and expenditure in uplifting the economy. Developing the small-scale and medium-scale industries is also emphasised. Uplifting the economy is not an easy task. However, the government has done its best to establish the trust bestowed on it by the foreign countries. Action is being taken to implement the suggestions made by the IMF. The State Minister further emphasised that investors and new investments are being encouraged. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
The State Minister of Home Affairs, Asoka Priyantha, said that the government officers who cannot accomplish the responsibility of the duty should take a decision in a short time about the continuity of their service. He said this at an awarding ceremony of appointments for Colombo District Registrars of Births, Deaths and Marriages, which was held today at the Temple Trees with the participation of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Speaking on this occasion, the State Minister stated that majority of the community has the attitude of enjoying the privileges and leaving the country. We must gather our strength to reconstruct the country in this difficult time. All of us have an equal responsibility to fulfill the requirements of our nation. He stressed the importance of serving the public without inconveniencing them and without misusing their designations. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena commends the service rendered to the public by the Homagama-based hospital. He further added that the contribution made by the hospital is exemplary. He expressed these views taking part in an event of donating a stock of medical equipment required for dengue treatments. It is true that the health sector is being criticized for its shortcomings. However, it provides a great service to the public of the country. The public of the rural areas heavily depend on the free health service provided by the government sector. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena further said that the Homagama-based hospital provides a high-quality service to the public. The minister observed the telemedicine unit, community child rehabilitation unit, and the pathway to the main theatre of the hospital. And that ends local news for now.
Listen, no fake news, false flags, it is the real thing. Breaking records, making history, you know we got the big bling. 10 billion bonus all across the island. Ka-ching! Not millions, talking billions, yeah, it is the big win.
History's highest ever sure bonus declaration for SLIC life policyholders in 2022 exceeds 10 billion rupees.
10 billion bonus gonna make your dreams come true. 10 billion bonus for you.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Asala Perahara of the Sacred Temple of the Truth Relic in Kandy will commence the first Kumbal Perahara parading the streets this evening. Kumbal Perahara is slated to be held until the 25th of August, while the first Randoli Perahara will begin on the 26th and parade the streets for 5 days until the 30th of August. The Kandy Asala Festival will draw to an end following the water cutting ceremony at the Mahavali River in Gatambe on the 31st of August. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
On Watchlight this evening, the Registrar General's Department announced that certified copies of birth, marriage and death certificates issued by the department will not become invalid after 6 months. In a public notice, the Registrar General's Department announced regulations in this regard have been removed. The department also informs that if there are copies of any certificate issued, there is no need to get a new copy. The Ministries of Education and Foreign Affairs as well as the Department of Immigration and Registration of Persons have also been informed on this decision. However, the department states that new copies should be submitted only if an amendment has been made to the birth, marriage or death records. And that was Watchlight.
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
On to world news in the headlines. India's lunar lander Vikram searches for safe moon landing spot. Thailand's few Thai allies with military rivals to form new government. And pioneering wind-powered cargo ship sets sail. India's space agency has released images of a far side of the moon as its third lunar mission attempts to locate a safe landing spot on the little explored South Pole. The pictures have been taken by Vikram, Chandrayaan 3's lander, which began the last phase of its mission on Thursday. Vikram, which carries a rover in its belly, is due to land on the 23rd of August. The photos come a day after Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft crashed into the moon after spinning out of control. Thailand's populist Pheu Thai Party has formed a coalition with 10 other parties, including 2 allies with its former military rivals, in a bid to form a new government and end 3 months of political deadlock. The announcement came a day ahead of a parliamentary vote for a new prime minister, and as former Premier Thaksin Shinawatra prepares to return to the kingdom after 15 years in self-imposed exile. Pheu Thai is expected to nominate real estate mogul Shreta Thavisin as the country's next leader. A cargo ship fitted with giant British design special wind-powered sails had set out on its maiden voyage. Shipping firm Cargill, which has chartered the vessel, hopes the technology will help the industry chart a course towards a greener future. Using the wing size rigid wings, Sales aims to cut fuel consumption and therefore shipping carbon footprint. It is estimated the industry is responsible for about 2.1% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Back to the headlines of the world news. India's lunar lander Vikram searches for safe moon landing spot. Thailand's few Thai allies with military rivals to form new government. And pioneering wind-powered cargo ship sets sail. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities from Deshakti Lanka in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Oman, including company housemaid, salary 156,000 rupees, 23 to 57 years. Contact 037 7500 500.
On development news, the Indian budget carrier SpaceJet commenced direct flight services between Madurai and India and Colombo in Sri Lanka from the 20th, Sunday. Its first flight, SG-003 from Madurai, carrying 30 passengers and 4 crew, arrived at Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayaka. The return flight left Bandar Naik International Airport for Madurai, carrying 50 passengers. The direct flights of SpaceJet were suspended during the COVID epidemic. The budget carrier will operate flights between India's Madurai and Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayaka 6 days a week, except on Wednesday. And that was Development News.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Company housemaids, caretakers and home cooks in Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can now travel overseas free of charge. Branches, Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Development Agency.
Sports news, it's cricket. Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul have been picked in the India squad for the upcoming Asia Cup in Sri Lanka. Both batters were recovering from long-term injuries and were out of action for a considerable period of time. But with the World Cup coming up in less than 2 months, India have received a massive boost. Tilak Varma, who was impressive in his maiden international outing in West Indies, has also been picked in the squad. Jasprit Bumrah, who made his much-awaited comeback in Ireland, will be leading the pace attack, and that also comprises Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, Prasidh Krishna and bowling all-rounder Shardul Thakur. And that was Sports News.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
SLT Mobitel e-Teleshop excels as Best Web.lk 2023 SLT Mobitel e-Teleshop has received an award under the category Best E-Commerce Website at the Best Web.lk 2023 awards held at the Monarch Imperial Hotel recently. The award highlights the website's commitment to excellence, user experience and innovation in a digital space. Importantly, it marks the third successful year of SLT Mobitel e-Teleshop's website as a standalone site. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe met Singapore's President Halimah Yacob at the Istana this morning. President Yacob said in a note on her official Facebook page that the two presidents had a fruitful discussion covering food security, renewable energy and regional economic cooperation, amongst other things. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
Except for a few showers in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle Mathura districts, mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. Fairly strong winds, about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Trincomalee, Hambantota and Monragala districts. And that was the report. Prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines once again. The Department of Irrigation requests the public to use water sparingly. President Ranil Wickremesinghe meets Singapore's president. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the government is prioritizing the uplifting of the economy. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena commends the service rendered by the Homagama-based hospital. The Sri Dalda Maligawa Asala Perahara will commence today. Foreign news, India's lunar lander Vikram searches for safe moon landing spot. Sports is cricket. India names 17-member squad for the Asia Cup. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.